to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
Good morning. Welcome to This Week in Marketing. This is your host, Bill Wynn with AMA San Diego. Joining me this morning is Ari Hoffman of MindTouch. He is the customer success fanatic there. Good morning, Ari.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Bill.
So we're going to be talking this morning about customer success. What is it? What does it mean? How important is it? How do you do it? It's a term that in marketing and elsewhere in business has gotten huge and become very topical in the last couple of years. So we're going to have Ari kind of take us through the definitions and the importance of customer success here in a minute. Before I get to that, I just want to announce that this is actually my last show with AMA San Diego, and my colleague Sam, who's actually not here with us today, is going to be taking over the microphone starting with the next show in July. And so I just want to thank all of the guests and everyone else who has supported the show over the last 2 years. I've done approximately 40 of them, and they've all been fun. The guests have all been great. So thanks to everyone who has participated and everyone who has listened. And Ari, aren't you lucky to be on my Bon Voyage show?
What a surprise. This is an excellent surprise to have, and I'm definitely going to make sure that this will be one to remember.
Thank you. I need a big send off. So let's get started with you, Ari. So first of all, help us understand what MindTouch does. Let's start there.
Yeah, so MindTouch is a self-service software for support. So we are a knowledge management curation platform that then creates web-ready documentation. So you have your Verizon.com, and then you have your support.verizon.com. So if you want to learn how to print from your phone, you would go there. But actually nobody goes there because you can't find anything. We make a success center for you so that you're able to find all of your information, whether you start your search at Google or not. And then that also works internally so that your enterprise understands what your customers are looking for. They can serve up that information more readily. And then if you do have to call in, the support agents can track where you've been and where you've gone so that they can serve you at a faster rate.
Okay, so using that Verizon subdomain example, right, who produces the content that's in that subdomain?
So they're already producing it, whether it's in training manuals, product guides, user guides, all of that documentation that you have for all of your products or even your processes, right? Those are all stored normally in PDF somewhere, which is a terrible user experience, especially if you're on your mobile phone. What we do is we actually have the platform that breaks that out, the content they already have, into micro content. So that's much more easily findable through a Google search or through a click-through faceted search within your own site. And then on top of that, we're also the authoring tool so that they can start to produce and author all in one place. So you're not having to bounce between different platforms.
Okay, awesome. So once a company contracts with MindTouch, does MindTouch kind of own that subdomain and everything that's in it, or is that kind of overstating how it works?
In a way, it is hosted on our platform. Kind of think about Salesforce. You have a platform that you're building out your instance in. The thing is you wouldn't know it's a MindTouch site. Everyone's using MindTouch sites right now. You just don't know it. You know, our customers are Whirlpool, Hitachi, Electrolux, Fisher & Paykel, Samsung. So these huge sites are built on MindTouch. We're running in the back engine. Okay.
All right, good. So let's then transition to customer success. Help us define that. Help people understand it, right? Because I think everyone thinks it's obvious, right? It's the success of your customers. That's easy. So
yeah.
What does it really mean?
So there's a couple things here, and I think if you're a San Diego listener, this is going to be a very relevant conversation for you. San Diego is way behind the times when it comes to this. So let's start out. What I'll kind of do here is we'll start out by defining what customer success is. And then I'll talk to you about why it came to be.
Okay.
Right? And why it's so important in San Diego. I travel all over the country, not only for conferences, but interviewing my customers and meeting with our customers. And I could go to places like Minneapolis, and they're way further along when it comes to the customer success community and the culture that they're nurturing there for this. San Diego has historically been a little slower to move than most places. And especially when I spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley, what you notice here in San Diego is we are stuck in what's called the perpetual sale, right? We are stuck in these one-off sales, even for our own services. Even if we own a subscription-based billing program, we're still selling it like a perpetual sale. And so what customer success is, it's really a distinction between account management and customer success. There's a fine line, and it's all about the outcomes and what your objectives are. So account manager, their job is to make sure that you renew as a customer, right? You have a Q4 renewal date. They're going to check in at the end of Q3 and say, hey, what's your problem? What can I do to fix it? What can I do to make sure that you're going to stay with us as a customer, right? So they're reselling you in that last quarter all over again. And their job, right, they're measured on what is the renewal rates, right? Are they expanding within us? And are they referring us new customers? Those are some of the ways that account managers are measured. Customer success manager is the same direction, except the focus is not on renewing. It's not on churn rate, on reduction of churn, right? And it's not on expansion. What it really is, the prime objective is to make sure that your customers are successful. They're using your products or your services to the fullest capabilities that they can. And people can say, yeah, that's just a new name for account management, right? That's just a new way. It's not. A byproduct of what they do might be renewals, and it might be expansion, it might be references and referrals. But the outcomes, right, that you're looking for, one is measured in use, and the other is measured in renewal, right? One is measured in dollars, and one is measured in use case. And I'll give you a distinction of why that matters and why we got to a point where customer success is so important in not only startup companies and mid-market, but this is really what enterprise is now adopting. You can't look at an Oracle or a Salesforce or an SAP that's out there that doesn't have customer success. In fact, Salesforce kind of wrote themselves as one of the customer success engines, a way to make your customers more successful. And the reason that this has become so important today, more so than just 5-6 years ago, is two different things have happened in our market, right? One is the subscription economy. It's the revolution of the subscription economy. And two is we have the world's information in our pockets. We have Google in our pockets. So those two things combined have led to where we are right now, where customer success isn't just, I watched this 4 or 5 years ago at the conference, Pulse, which is the largest customer success conference out there. And I go to a lot of them. I go to the Customer Success Summit. I go to CS100. The conversation when it first started was, how do we get a seat at the table, right? You have marketing there and you have sales there, right? You have everyone there. You have accounts there. How does customer success get a seat there? And then once they got a seat there, because companies started to realize how important it was, okay, well, how do we stay at the table? What are the things that we need to measure? What are the KPIs that we have to have, right? And now what that conversation is really transformed into is it's not having a seat at the table. It is the table that everybody sits around. The customer has become the primary focus again, right? We're going back to 25 years ago, right? The customer is number one, and not just as a marketing slogan that we can put on our wall, right? It is the absolute truth. And, in a little bit, we can get into what the subscription economy means and what Google in your pocket has done to push that forward.
Yeah, and I do want to dive deeper into those topics. I will say that a couple of shows ago, my guest was Lars Helgeson of Green Rope, and we talked about how many customers, not of his necessarily, but just kind of in the CRM and marketing automation space in general, have implemented these tools in a way that vastly underutilizes what they're capable of doing, right? So they're really using them as just glorified email systems, right? So they're sending out the occasional newsletter, but they're not automating anything, right? And they're not building any kind of intelligence into these tools. And I have to imagine if you had a customer success function that you would be able to overcome that kind of difficulty.
Absolutely. I mean, even look at MindTouch, the reach and the breadth of scope that we cover for your organization and what we can do between engagement and the analytics and the reporting that you can run on what your customers are actually looking for and what it affects within your company. It can affect marketing, affect product. I mean, think about a camera, right? So if you were to sell a camera, a high-end DSLR camera, right? This is a perfect analogy. And you had a product manual and you're about to launch a new one. You might survey your customers. If you were Sony, you might survey your customers and say, what's the most important thing for you when you buy a new camera? And you're forcing them, one, to think of what is important to them, not to actually act on it. So they might say, well, a quick start guide, charging the battery, downloading the information so I can get my pictures off my camera, and being able to post those on the web. So a nice quick start guide. 2, you're surveying people. So you only have a certain type of people who take surveys. So you've skewed your results twice over now. Whereas if you had all of that information broken out online where you could actually analyze what people were looking for, right? You could see what was most important to them. And it might turn out that even though the quick start guide is what everyone says they want, the first thing everyone goes to look at is how to take pictures in low light sensitivity. So people say, well, okay, great. Well, what can you do with that? You can do a lot with that. You can tell your product team, hey, our low light sensor isn't that good. Maybe we should step it up. You can look at your marketing team and say, hey, this is what we should make campaigns around. And your sales team might know this is what I should start the conversation with. How great our camera takes pictures in low light. So we can get a little deeper into that in a sec.
Okay. Yeah. So when we come back, I would very much like to dive into the importance of kind of the digital transformation in your pocket and some of the other topics we just explored. So you're listening to This Week in Marketing with AMA San Diego on WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in Internet talk. We'll be right back with Ari Hoffman of MindTouch.
A podcast or radio show on WS Radio is a great way to create content marketing. Turn prospects into customers into raving fans. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children.
After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What? Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. This is your host, Bill Wynn. We're here with Ari Hoffman, customer success fanatic at MindTouch. So, Ari, when we left off, I had kind of given you the example of Green Rope and Lars's experience with folks who underutilize the power of a CRM, basically as like a glorified MailChimp, right? So I have to imagine that when someone does that platform or that application is a lot less sticky than it would be if they were using it to its full capabilities.
Absolutely. So, in the example I was giving about MindTouch, it was just to show you the scope of how MindTouch can affect an organization, right? And we have the ability to land in one department and expand throughout. If a customer comes in and uses one function or a feature of MindTouch and aren't looking at the bigger objectives that MindTouch solves for, they're just feature focused, right? They're just using it in these one-off pieces in their organization. Well, how easy, when you talk about stickiness, how easy is it to leave MindTouch, right? If maybe the champion who uses that one feature leaves the company, right? Let's say they get fired or they move on. Now you're left with no champion there and you're not extended within the organization, so they're not going to fully utilize it. Then think about the price. If you talk about having, a large price tag on a product and they're using a fraction of that product, right? And you just care that you made the sale. Well, when it comes time to renew, how are they going to value that? They're going to go, well, we bought it for this, but what we're actually using it is for this. And so when defining a customer success manager or a department for customer success, you can look at it this way. And it depends on the size of your organization. But what I've seen that works really well is where they don't get rid of accounts, right? Accounts is there. They're more of the umbrella department that looks out for the financing, the ROI. The customer success team, right, they're more like a coach. So if we were breaking down to a sports analogy, you have a basketball coach, you have a football coach. Look at Bill Belichick for the Patriots. His job, he does not care if a single seat in those stands is filled. He doesn't care about the media after and doing those interviews.
And he makes that perfectly obvious.
He makes it obvious. What he cares 100% about are his players and winning games. He wants his players to win. He wants his players to be optimized and working at peak performance throughout the game, collaborating with each other so that they can win games. That's it. He doesn't care about the sponsors and the ads that they get. He doesn't care about the logos that go on the jersey. He cares about winning games. That's what a customer success manager is. They're a coach. They care about their customers winning. They care about them using the entire scope that your product or service fulfills. Right? They want to make sure that you're using every single thing and that you're achieving the outcomes, not just the smaller metrics, not just the strategy, right? They want to make sure that those large business objectives are being solved for, because now they can track that, right? They can track your usage of the product. How engaged are you? How often are you using it, right? What is the extent of it? How far is it extending into your organization? How many people are using it, right? Is the C-level informed of the software and what it's providing for the organization, right? And you can track that through these quarterly business reviews, through weekly measurements. And now, because so many things are online, it's trackable. Use is trackable, right? I can see how many people are searching, requesting, how many hits they're getting, what their persona types are that are using the product. So that's a customer success code. Now, if you think of the account manager, that's much more like your GM. Your GM has to care about ticket sales. They have to care about sponsorship and ad revenue, right? And they have to care that they're making enough money to pay the players, right? And then still pay the owners out. So the GM is really like the account manager. The account manager should still be there. But if the account manager is running your success in the organization, what inevitably has happened again and again that I've seen at different organizations is every time the customer picks up the phone and the account manager is there to give them best practice, well, it's coupled with there's going to be an upcharge for that, right? And it separates the ability for the customer to be raw with you, and to really
and
talk to you.
Let their defenses down.
Let their defenses down, give you some of their pain points, right? Without it being leveraged into some other use case that they need more of this, or you need some customization or service here. It separates that tail end, right? And that trust level goes up. And really a customer success manager's ultimate goal is to be a trusted advisor, right? Where the account manager now, if you have that trust with the success manager, can come in and go, hey, you've done all these wonderful things. We see that this is working. Let's get you on this program that actually fits how you're using the product right now. So they have a much easier time actually because they're separated from that need and they can focus purely on the resale and the renewal.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So you said early on in our first segment that there were two factors really kind of driving the importance of the customer success model these days. The first of those you said was the importance of Google in your pocket, right? What our mobile phones mean. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know what? Let's go this way. I'm going to give a quick analogy or a quick story. If you go back to consumer purchasing habits, right? So let's go back to medieval times. You got the blacksmith there, right? You have the cobbler making your shoes. What were they to their company?
Well, they were everything. They were the owner, well, obviously the customer success guy, right? They were the fanatic that you are today.
They were absolutely everything for their company. They were marketing, right? They were product and procurement, right? They bought all the pieces. They ran the store. So if you think of the cobbler, he knew exactly what size foot you were. He knew what you did. You were a soldier, so you need a thicker sole, right? You needed tougher leather, right? Or you might be out in the field, so you needed a higher boot. Right? The cobbler knew everything about you as the customer. He was directly connected to the customer. And then we go through, you have the Industrial Revolution, and we went from a single one-off, person-run store to a mom-and-pop shop that then started to sell, more than one product. And now you've interjected someone from who's creating the product to someone who's buying. There's someone in the middle now, right, who's selling your products for you. And as the Industrial Revolution grew, we started to lose the mom and pop shops and we went to the big box, right? Now you had someone who worked there who knew a lot of little things about a lot of different things, but wasn't an expert in any one thing. So now you have a person selling a product who doesn't even really know the scope of that product, right? And they're between someone who's between a distribution line, who's between the producer. So now what you have is a direct disconnect between the end user, the purchaser, and the person creating the product. And I use this analogy in big box, but that's the same in software, right? If you look at Adobe and what they're producing, right? There's a disconnect between who's buying Photoshop, right? And how they're using it and who's making Photoshop. And so what we had to do for ages, we send surveys and we try to poll people, and that's like pulling teeth instead of knowing exactly what they're doing. Adobe, when they jumped from Adobe, the $800 CD that you would buy for the Photoshop suite or the Creative Suite, right? And they jumped to go to cloud to charge $9.99 a month. You think their shareholders were pretty excited about that move? They went from 15 million users overnight down to 9 million users and lost all of those people. But what they picked up was the insights into how their customers are using their product. And now they're growing at a rate like never before. They're crushing it. And they had to make that jump to understanding this is not about the big one-time sale and getting our money back instantly. They're going to jump to this $9.99 a month where their ROI, they have to keep the customer subscribed longer. So I'll jump into that. So anyways, as we've changed from that mom and pop, right, to the big box, and now we are to a point where when I go to buy something, I don't walk into a store and buy it. I might go into a store and look at it, right, to see if it's a TV, to see how it looks on the shelf, but I'm going on my phone. I'm buying from my phone. I'm buying from my desktop at home, right? I'm going to find the best deal that's out there. And what that has done, the ability to search for anything whenever I want it, Google in my pocket, has changed the way I buy because now I expect information to be delivered. I'm not just going to take the word of the person who's selling me something. I'm going to check the reviews. I'm going to see what the comments are. What is the feedback on it? What's it like to get support on it? Now, take that and put that into your software, right? Or take that into your service. Even more so. So people are going to be looking into you. Gartner and the CEB have both put out reports showing that 57% of the buying cycle or the buyer's journey is done before you ever know they're interested in your product. They are researching you and they don't want to fill out a form, right? So if you're not providing that information to them, what are they going to do? They're going to find it on a blog or a forum or on a competitor's site.
Yeah.
And you don't control any of those conversations, right? So that ability to find information also makes it so if I, onboard with your company and I go through that whole process, we're trying to make onboarding, right? The first 30, 60, 90 is incredibly important to keeping your customers up. Well, if I go through that process, if it's easy to onboard, it's also easy to offboard now. And I can find your competitors. Before you had to look on lists, right? You had to buy lists to see what vendors were out that did what. When I used to work in the products world, you had a manufacturing list called Tom's List, which showed you all the manufacturers. You had to buy it, you had to subscribe to it, and you had to pay to find what manufacturers out there had two-shot mold injection, right? That's gone. I can go onto Google.
Yeah, so unless Tom's got an app, he's probably not in business anymore.
So now when you used to say, we're the only people in the business, we're the only ones who do what we do, well, bull. They're going to find it online, right? They're used to finding that information. So their success has now become much more important, right? On top of that, back in the day, think about how you used to complain about something. How did you have a connection with a company? That's something that we can get into a little bit more, is how people had a direct connection with those companies.
Yeah, and it was likely to be over the phone, right? I had to proactively, I had to do a lot more to share my feedback than I do now. All right, so let's pause there. We'll return with Ari Hoffman of MindTouch. You are listening to This Week in Marketing with AMA San Diego on WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in Internet talk. Thanks for listening.
Securing Our eCity Foundation is a nonprofit organization focused on cybersecurity awareness and education. Formed in 2011, their mission is to enable every San Diegan to live, work, and play safely in the cyber world. For more information, visit securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444. securingourecity.org, 619-630-2444. securingourecity.org.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Kinja Dixon was crowned the #1 sales executive through hard work, deep thinking, and the revelation of universal talk laws. He now wants to share these lessons with you. Universal talk laws are what you need to know and use in business and at home to have successful and effective conversations. Kinja Dixon shares his wisdom, action plans, and wealth. Each book comes with a chance to win $10,000. Find Universal Talk Laws at KinjaDixon.com.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
So we're back with Ari Hoffman, customer success fanatic at MindTouch. So Ari, and we're talking about customer success here this morning. Ari, when's the first time you recall hearing about this customer success model?
I actually fell into it. My company sent me to a conference that was a customer success conference because we had 4 or 5 different customers that were going to be there, which is a great place for me to meet and connect with them, film some interviews, get them on camera talking about things with our product and with the software. And I remember specifically sitting in on the first keynote and it just resonating with me. It really hitting home with me. And then I remember every person that I met, it was like, so, you know, I grew up with this notion of you either did something really good in your life or you made money, right? You did something really good. You did some moral thing. You were a doctor, you fought for a cause, or you worked at some environmental company, or you made money. Right. I put the two in separate buckets, and it was a while before I learned that that wasn't what business is. They're not mutually exclusive. You can have them together. And when I hit the customer success community, something resonated with me to a point where not only did it feel comfortable, but it also opened my eyes to saying, this is the future. And that was 4 or 5 years ago. Now look at what LinkedIn, the reports they're putting out now. It's the number 4 hottest job to have. It's growing at an exponential rate, right? Has not only market cap, but or market availability, but it also has the ability for people who are stuck and can't find a way to progress their careers and make more money while doing something they like and not feeling like they're selling their soul to make money. It gives you that ability because you're taking the revenue stream part of it out and you're saying your focus is to better people, to help them get promotions in their own companies, to help them get raises in their companies, to help them, if they leave their company, get a better job somewhere else, right? Because you're fine-tuning their skill set. And so that outward focus really helps people find a lot of joy in what they do. And it's why customer success is becoming so powerful, because it's not just the end results that you're getting, it's also how people are feeling in the middle there. And so that resonated with me. And I remember meeting one person after the next that just became friends, right? And now I'm not even a customer success manager. I don't run accounts, right? I don't run best case. I market to customer success. So, you know, if you look at the sales funnel that we all know about, right? You have the early lead drip into the top of the funnel and you're always trying to push them down to get them into pipe and make that sale. Well, now because of customer success and how important renewals are, it's really an hourglass. It's not a funnel. So you have to create that process all over again, right? And hit them harder and make sure they're using the process. And the CSM can't be the only one to do that. Marketers have a job to do here. And what's more valuable, me telling you about my product and how awesome it is, or having a customer who's using it tell you about that, right? And if I need you as a customer to start using something that you're not, maybe you have a blocker, right? Let's say I want you to turn some information public. Say, I know you feel this is sensitive, but I need you to turn it public. Here's why. You're going to hear me. You're going to go vet it with other departments, see if you can get sign off. But if I take a use case and show you exactly what the results were that another customer did doing the same thing, then I have them telling you a testimonial of what they've seen since they did it and what hurdles they had to go through to get there, telling you how they managed up and got approval for it, telling you all of the steps that they did to deploy this. What do you think is going to be more successful getting you to do what I want as a company, right? So telling those stories has become really, really important. And back to what you were talking about, the connection we had with companies was over the phone, right? And then maybe we could write a snail letter. Remember we used to send letters in to complain?
Yeah.
Right? Or we would write to the BBB. People don't even know what the BBB is anymore, right? That was it, though. They controlled the channels of communication. The company did. So whether we said the customer is king or not, the company was king because they controlled how you talked. You had nowhere to complain, right? And you had no way to get a hold of them. You had to sit in line. Well, now I can go on Twitter. When I'm on an airplane and I have a problem with my seat, I don't call support. I don't go online and try and reach a contact center. I tweet them. Within 2 minutes, I get a response, right? Hey, DM us and we want to figure out how we can solve this. And I've actually been moved before the plane has taken off. I've been moved seats because of a Twitter post, right? So they don't control the conversation anymore. The customer does. We can choose a multitude of channels to reach out on. Now, because they don't do that, it has forced them to put us back up on the throne. Mm-hmm. The customer is king again because you will lose us instantly. Just as quickly as you got us, you will lose us if you don't focus on our success, right? And then the subscription economy, and I'll blast through this, but just to give people an understanding, you know, I talked about it earlier, Photoshop. It was a one-off CD sale that you would buy for $800, right? Now I buy it $9.99 a month. We get that as a subscription, right? People understand that. People understand, oh, they subscribe to HBO, right? They might subscribe to diaper renewals on Amazon. They get that type of subscription. They don't realize how broad subscription really is now. When Rolls-Royce sells an engine to a Boeing, right? They sell an engine to a jet plane. They used to sell the engine. They don't sell them anymore. They lease engines with a service plan, right? If you look at companies now with software, absolutely SaaS subscription, you know, that is subscription at its base, you know, but we don't think about everything around us is becoming a subscription. We are now having cars where you don't lease a car, you lease a program and you can use any car. You can change them out interchangeably, right? Porsche, Ford, they're all doing this now, right? Everything is going to become a subscription. What that means is it's no longer a sale or ownership of something. You're going to buy an experience, right? And experiences are a direct connection to how we feel about things, right? How much effort does it take to play a part in this experience? Mm-hmm. The more effort it takes, the less likely we're going to do it. The less effort, the more likely. Everything is becoming efficient, right, and optimized. So you have to focus in the subscription economy on lowering effort, right, and their success, right? There's a direct correlation between effort and success. Not net promoter score that tells you how likely you are to promote this company, because that just tells you, you know, most likely it's going to tell you how much you like the support agent you just worked with. So the subscription economy now, because we are constantly having to renew, from day one, I better be getting value out of your product. And it doesn't mean I have to launch with your product or your service, but it means I need to know you're there for me and that you are focusing on me and that you are reducing my effort in my life to make my life better, right? Or else you're going to be lost. You know, at the AMAs we were at, I can't remember her name, but she told that wonderful story about how we all tell the hero or heroine story, right? Where you're launched out into the world and you're fought with trouble and you have to cross chasms and jump hurdles and near-death experiences, and then at the end you succeed. And we always tell the story like our company is the hero or the heroine. We're saving people from you know, their customers leaving them. We're changing the way that you record your customers' information. We're changing the way that you can market to them, right? When you gave your email marketing platform. Well, we're not the hero. We're little Yoda sitting on the shoulders, guiding them. The hero is the person who's using it. And we have to keep that focus absolutely at the forefront of our minds to make sure that they feel like the hero, because that's what resonates. Those are the shoes they want to fill, right? So if they're filling those shoes, well, what are they going to do now? Gainsight talks a lot about this. Not only are they going to renew with your product, if they are crushing it using your product, they're using every single piece of it, but they're also focused on what the big objectives are. So now you want to throw in a challenge to them, they're going to be much more readily available to hearing what you're saying, right, than they are if you're throwing a challenge and they're not already getting anything out of your product, or they're getting a couple features here and there, right? Mm-hmm. So you can keep leading them down that business. What's the likelihood of them renewing? Gartner shows it's 17 times more likely to renew and upsell a current customer than it is to sell a new customer. So that means, where are we putting all of our focus? Is it all on net new and just grow and churn, right? And buy more lists and buy more email lists and buy and just pushing and pushing and pushing? Or do you work with what's here? There's such an unlimited and untapped resource of money within your existing customers. But what's even better is, if that customer is really using your product, Do you think they're going to start talking about your product? Do you think they're going to start advocating for you, right? And now they're going to start referring people to you. So they are your new revenue stream. And think about this. Our last conference we were at was called Breaking Through the Noise. I'm hit on my TV. I'm hit on the radio. I'm hit on my computer, on my desktop. My cell phone now is getting text advertisements. People that don't have my number, I've never signed up for anything, are texting me marketing on my phone. We block it out. There's so much noise. So we need a new way. And what that is going back to how we used to be, which is a direct connection between the producers and the consumers, right? That direct connection leads to their success, and it makes sure that we're making products that are revolving around their success, right? And you have a happy medium between the outside-in approach and the inside-out. Outside-in is, what is the customer's experience? What do they need? What do they want? And then the obvious rebuttal to that is, Henry Ford would never have designed the factory line if he would have made a faster horse, right? If you listen to the customer. Well, yeah, but the customer is also telling them that they need better modes of transportation. Mm-hmm. And then the inside out is the Henry Ford, or Apple, right? We're going to design something new for them. And where those two merge, right? When you have that, what's the Venn diagram, right? Where they merge is where growth is, right? The insights and the analytics from your customers and the insights and the analytics from your creation, right? And your product. And now when we connect those back, right? The product and the consumer, and now with the ability to connect anywhere.
Let's stop there because we're just about out of time on this segment. You're listening to This Week in Marketing with AMA San Diego. We'll be right back with Ari Hoffman of MindTouch.
You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goley, one thing that you have helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get to the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
Did you know the majority of radio listeners are between the ages of 35 and 54, have a household income of more than $100,000, are classified as executives or professionals, and share the show they listen to? Become part of the Peggy Smedley Show to reach listeners looking for information on connected devices through cost-effective radio commercials or segment sponsorships. Contact us at 630-933-0844 for more information or visit PeggySmedleyShow.com.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
This is your host, Bill Wynn, with AMA San Diego, here with Ari Hoffman of MindTouch. He is the customer success fanatic there. This is our final segment. Ari, thanks again for joining me. So, Ari, if this is an evolution from the big box enterprise with the disconnect between the product developer and the customer to kind of the modern day equivalent of your cobbler model, where the product developer knows everything about his customer, how far along that evolution are we?
Well, let's take a couple quick examples here. Does Tesla sell through distribution channels? Do they sell through distributors, or are they selling direct?
Direct.
What is Apple doing now,
Yep,
right? With the Apple shops, Microsoft followed suit, right? So this direct connection back to the consumer isn't a fad. It's not, I know some people that talked about the cloud as a fad, right? The cloud's here to stay. Everyone knows that now. So is customer success, and so is this direct connection. How far along we are depends on what company and where. But if you look at what Gartner is talking about, or Forrester, or the CEB, or Harvard Business Review, they're talking about 50% of the Fortune 500 companies will be gone in 10 years because they're not adopting and adapting. But you look at the ones who are, and they're changing quickly. Look at what Salesforce was able to do against Oracle and SAP. They're the market leaders now when it comes to CRM, right? Oracle, they are over double the next closest, which is SAP. Right? They're the fastest to 20 million. And how are they doing it? They're doing it not only on a SaaS model, but with customer success as one of their pillars. Right? So customer success isn't just a new way to call it account management. That's something I want people to take away from this conversation. And it's not, it can work independent of account management. But the other thing that you need to take away from this is that everything is going the way of the subscription. The perpetual sale of selling you once and then reselling you again. And, your ink cartridges are out. Let me sell you again. That's gone. Your ink printer and your printer is actually going to send a signal to the company that you bought the printer from that tells you you're low on print, on ink. And guess what? In your mail, it's just going to show up automatically because that's going to come with your service plan, right? Someone's going to show up and replace a part before you know it's broken. That even goes to tractors. Look at what Caterpillar is doing. Right? They actually have sensors in their gears and their engines. So as that gear starts to wind down, they will schedule a maintenance call for you before you even know there's a problem. Right? And you're bringing it in because you have $1 million engine in that tractor. Guess what? Let's say you're one of the people who work on it by yourself and you do all of that custom work. That gear is going to show up in your mailbox. Right? It's going to be delivered on a truck and dropped off in the front of your house. And I'm talking about products, but that services, that's even easier. I use products as an example because it's tangible and we can put our minds around it, right? But that's going to be for everything.
Yeah. So companies that are resisting this trend, what's kind of stopping them from making this leap of faith?
You're bucking a revenue stream. You have a centuries worth of a system that they've done over and over again, right? And they say, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Sorry, got a little loud there.
That's okay.
But it's absolutely true. That's how they feel. And change is always uncomfortable. And if you look at that, what's that, the adoption model, right? Where you have the early adopters, you have the first to follow, right? The majority of consumers fall in that, I'm not going to do it until there's market adoption, right? I'm not going to do it till I see everybody's doing it.
I see critical mass, and I know they're working all the bugs out.
Right.
Before I get there.
Right. And that's what's happening. You have the people who keep that day one mentality like Bezos talks about, right? And they're always going to be either in that early adoption or first to follow, which is why, for SaaS companies, it's always smart to go after other SaaS companies because they're always early adopters and they're already getting that new way of revenue stream. But what's holding companies back in the perpetual sale is, they have systems in place. They have tons and tons of not just departmental organizational tactics at play here, but their strategy is revolved around a certain way that they post. They're measuring their growth at certain times of the year when they have higher upsell and lower upsell, right? Instead of a constant revenue stream. It was really hard for Adobe to make the jump. 15 million users buying an $800 plus package. It's a lot of money, right? To go to $9.99 a month and they can leave you at any time. No contract. That's a scary jump to make. Right. But understanding that this is the direction we're going and that if you're not getting on it now or at least making the moves to, if you don't have customer success, at least call a consultant in to have them just analyze your company and see where maybe it might play. Right. You don't need to hire them and change departments. Call in a consultant.
So before we get too close to the end of the show here, if people want to get more involved in the customer success community, how can they do that?
So if you're in San Diego, or actually in, I think it's over 80 different cities now, Gainsight, which is one of the leading customer success software platforms, they hold the conference Pulse. But in each city, they do a Pulse Local, which is a community-run event. Gainsight does not run it. They don't pay for it. They don't own it. The community owns it and it's basically a networking and collaboration forum for people in the customer success community or looking to get into it. So I run the one here in San Diego's Pulse Local. We meet once a quarter. It's free. And every time, it's not just a networking event to come shake hands, right? What I do is I have a professional speaker come in, have the senior director from the Padres talk about elite membership and how they actually have harnessed that and how they make more money in their off season than they do on their on season through Petco, to Silicon Valley experts who talk about customer journey mapping. So there's always an educational piece and then the ability to expand. And at the end, we always talk about what jobs are being offered and who needs a job, who's there. So it's a great place to get involved.
A little bit of matchmaking.
Yeah, so you can look up pulselocal.com, find San Diego. It's completely free to sign up, and we do that once a quarter. And I think we're even going to do a barbecue this summer out at the beach just to have a little more fun and break free of that strictly learning paradigm. But I want to make sure there's always value added to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. So, so companies that are implementing a customer success model, what KPIs are they looking at to know if they're doing some good?
Yeah, and I'll get through this pretty quick. But two things to define right now is you have two different types of measurements. You have leading metrics and you have lagging metrics. And we often focus on lagging metrics, right? So a lagging metric in customer success or in account management would be churn rate, right? Would be adoption and expansion rates, right? But you can't tell if you're doing those till it comes time to renew. So that's a lagging metric. It's a long play that you're measuring post fact whether they renewed or they didn't. A leading metric are the KPIs that you measure to make sure you're on the path to get to that lagging metric. So things that you can do, how often are they using your product, right? How much of your product are they using? How many different features, how many sets, how many product lines, what's the scope? How many people are using it? What is the daily or weekly or monthly engagement with that product, right? What are their customer effort scores, right? If you're looking at how their support is handling them, what are your CSAT and NPS scores, right? Those are all leading metrics that you can start to run on a daily to weekly to monthly that'll tell you if you're in line with getting to your ultimate outcomes, right?
So does MindTouch have a customer success model itself? I mean, you say that you're marketing to that community, but the company also has customer success managers.
Yeah, I mean, forever, if you look at Gartner's quadrants, we were put in the customer success quadrant. And in fact, one of the problems that we had was people thought we were like Gainsight, that we were customer success software. And so Gainsight's a customer of ours, so that helped a lot.
Yeah.
So we said, they're obviously not a competitor, they're our customer. They're a customer success software. We're a knowledge management software. Mm-hmm. So, but we definitely have it ingrained into our product and into our company as a whole.
Great. Well, Ari, it's been a pleasure having you in the studio today. Thanks for educating us on customer success. We wish you all the success as you evangelize this philosophy.
Can I flip this for 1 second?
Go for it.
I think your listeners wish you all the success, and this is your big farewell.
Thank you. You're very kind. Well, it's been a fun ride, and I'm happy to turn the microphone over to Sam. I know he's going to do a great job. You're listening to This Week in Marketing with AMA San Diego. Thanks for listening.
Securing Our eCity Foundation is a nonprofit organization focused on cybersecurity awareness and education. Formed in 2011, their mission is to enable every San Diegan to live, work, and play safely in the cyber world. For more information, visit securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444. Securingourecity.org, 619-630-2444. Securingourecity.org.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Hi, Scale listener. This is David Finkel, co-host with Jeff Hoffman of Scale Your Business. I wanted to let you know that our newest book, Scale, was just released, and to encourage you to get your copy. The book will give you 7 proven principles to grow your business and get your life back. Scale will help you work less by getting your business to produce more. Get your copy online or at your local bookseller. For more information, visit us online at scaleyourbusinesstoolkit.com.